Hi, hello, how you doing? I hope everything is fine. Well, you know what it is. I'm drawing a mermaid. Kind of out of character if you ask me. If you didn't notice, in May, artists have another prompt month going around on the interwebs, which is all about mermaids. I know, pretty crazy, right? Just like Inktober. If you don't know Inktober, go check out my Inktober video out. So basically, here's the thing. In May, artists gather around to draw mermaids. This is an idea established by Tom Bancroft, who worked for Disney as far as I know, probably still works for Disney, but he works in the industry, he's a big artist, and he thought to himself, yeah, okay, let's start this movement and draw mermaids for a whole month. Which honestly it's super crazy to me, but whatever, I don't draw mermaids. And as far as I know, I never drew a mermaid, but there's a first for everything. Am I right, guys? So, as usual, I came too late to the party. Basically, in the last 4 days of May, I noticed that, oh, this thing is going around, I should probably give it a try. But there's a prompt list to it, which is good if you know from the beginning of the month that you're gonna start doing this. You can sketch or draw every day a new prompt. But having just 4 days left of the month, I couldn't tackle all the 31 prompts. That, by the way, is on the official Mermay Site. You can go check that out for yourself. So I decided to just draw a big picture storytelling type of deal. Because honestly, tackling 31 prompts in 4 days would have made me have a meltdown. But yeah, anyway, there's also a contest for Mermay, which was pretty interesting, and I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a shot. I'll try my best to make a pretty picture for it. Also, while I was researching this, I saw that a lot of people are doing their own prompts and built their own lore around it, like a whole story. The really interesting one that I noticed was by this artist on YouTube called Subjectively. If you want to see like the more interesting side, the more story-esque world building part of Mermay, you can go check his series out on Mermay. I'm gonna also leave a link in the description below. But heading out to my drawing, it was honestly really difficult, because I had this really cool idea in mind. Well, in my mind it was really cool, and if I could execute it correctly, it would probably be still really cool. But do you know those exploration submarines? I didn't know that that's how they're called, but they're called exploration submarines. The ones that go really deep down in the sea and have a sphere as the cockpit. Cockpit. Okay, I'll stop. You saw me struggle before to build a nice perspective to it, but I really struggled with that one. Luckily there were like a few references, but unfortunately there were no references that would have helped me with my perspective, with my point of view. And I had to go into Blender, and I don't know how to use Blender whatsoever, like at all. But here's the guide I made for my submarine, and I know it's bad. But it does the job. It works perfectly for what I had to do, and I think the perspective turned out okay. But let me tell you a little bit of the story that I want to tell here. It's just, it's called an exploration submarine, so I have this character that is exploring. I know, shocking. It's exploring the deeps of the water, and it's kind of a sci-fi-esque setting, for him at least. And that could work for the prompt, I guess, for one prompt of Mermay, that it's just futurism or futuristic. So I thought that I could play into one of the prompts at least. But yeah, it's basically just a creation of Adam type of scene where a mythical creature meets this sci-fi dude who is exploring the depth. I can't say that word. The depth of the ocean. And of course, I had to look up a bunch of references. Well, I looked up way more references for the submarine because I have no idea how a submarine works or should work, and I just didn't want to add random pipes you know, it doesn't have to be right, it just has to look right. So I just used a bunch of reference pictures for the submarine, even though the submarine is basically like 10% visible. But you know, it has to sell the viewer that this is an actual submarine or futuristic submarine. However, the most interesting part was the Mermaid. I actually googled siren for references, and I really don't know what's the difference between a mermaid and a siren. Wait, let me just check this real quick. Alright, so according to Google, a siren in Greek mythology, that is a land-dwelling, part human, part bird hybrid that sank to attract sailors to their doom as food for the sirens. And the mermaid, also in Greek mythology, is a sea dweller, part human, part fish hybrid that sank to attract sailors overboard to their doom for food. Yeah, basically sirens and mermaid are the same thing, except mermaids are the ones that are, you know, your typical H2O, Trio, and Ariel, which is basically just a human with a fish tail. And a siren is more interesting. It's a part human, part bird hybrid. That means that, shouldn't that be a harpy? I need to get my mythology on check. But yeah, sirens are basically the ones with wings. I guess they also live underwater. That reminds me, if you played The Witcher, there are actually sirens that have huge wings and they actually fly. But if you have a bow and arrow, you should be fine. For those of you who haven't played The Witcher, I don't know what's wrong with you, but play The Witcher. That way you will understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, sirens are the ones with wings, mermaids are the ones without wings. And luckily I was drawing the right one, because it's Mermay, not Mer-siren. I'm sorry, that was a horrible pun. But yeah, I actually didn't want to look up too many references for the siren, for the mermaid, because there are just so many ways I could have gone with it. And if I would have looked at the picture of a siren, or if I would have looked at any reference from a siren, I would have taken my creative liberties away from it, and I would have probably just copied more than I wanted to. So I really wanted to be creative with this one. The only interesting reference I took was looking at fish, you know, exotic fish, and the movie by Guillermo del Toro with the fishman. Wait a second, I'm thinking of the name. The Shape of Water. Holy shit, that movie is amazing. And the design of the amphibian, I don't think it had a name. I think they just referred to him as amphibian. But yeah, I took basically the color palette from him, and I knew I wanted to make the siren green, because that would be contrasting with the blue of the water and Explorer and the submarine. So yeah, I really wanted to have those worlds colliding and colors colliding, you know, that difference in colors that would also add to the storytelling. And I really like that I went with the underbelly. I don't know anatomy of mermaids, but you know, the chest area for the mermaid is orange. And I also added, just to make it more interesting, blue stripes on her, on the back of her. And speaking of her, I wanted to make the mermaid out as a female, but it didn't turn out to look too feminine in the end. Even though I added the features of a female body, it turned out to be more ripped rather than sexy, you know, because mermaids are usually sexy. It also just said on Google that they were luring humans or sailors to attract them to be food, basically. And you know, that's fine, you can do that also as a merman. I mean, whatever makes you happy. And I'm really happy that I made the mermaid or the merman or the merm look sexless, you know, because it's an alien creature after all. Well, a mythical creature after all. So having it be sexually ambiguous really adds to the story, because I didn't want to make it like super sexy. After all, it's a fish. And they really played into adding more of a fish type of deal rather than the upper parts of the mermaid being just a human body with the back of a random fishtail. That would have just taken me out of the story and I just wouldn't have been happy with it. That's why I played more with this long tail, these interesting colors, exotic but not too exotic. I didn't want it to pop so much. I still wanted it to have like an interesting look to it without being, I don't know, cheesy, I guess. And hopefully I got the message across in the picture. Also, I'm quite happy with how the submarine turned out. I think it might attract the viewer's eye a bit more than I initially wanted to. But, you know, it's a submarine. I think it looks like a submarine. And I'm really happy with the explorer guy. I didn't give it a name because I'm not doing lore here. I just wanted a pretty picture with interesting storytelling. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I mean, I could work on it more. It was really hard to figure out the light bouncing around in this scene. I didn't want it to feel flat, and I was trying really hard to get this right. But you know, I think in the end it's okay. And it was pretty hard for me because I never drew anything like this. I never drew a underwater scene. And light underwater reacts differently than light on the surface. Because I don't know why, but you know, it's more atmospheric. That's what I want to say here. And actually that's what I was going for. I was going for an atmospheric picture. Like it was taken from like a moment in time. Like it was taken in real life, or it's from an actual story. And I really wanted that message to come across. You can make your own story up about how this scene came to be. But yeah, it's basically just a futuristic dude exploring with his little submarine and coming across this merman or mermaid. And honestly, that's the best happy mistake I could have ever done probably with this piece. That the mermaid is not a mermaid or a merman. It's just, you know, a fish thing, because you couldn't tell fishes apart. Like you wouldn't go, oh, that's a female or that's a male, I think, unless you know fishes. I don't know fishes. For me, fishes are just fishes, and mermaids are just mermaids. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, and I hope that you did, check out my other stuff. Go to my YouTubes and subscribe if you enjoyed it. That would mean a lot to me. And go check out my Instagram. Why not? Why not? Anyway, thank you for joining me for this drawing process and my actual attempt at Mermay. And yeah, consider subscribing. I appreciate you. I hope everything is fine. If not, everything will be fine. Alright, catch you on the flip side. Take care, have fun. Good night or good day. Have fun. Bye. See you.